Okay, in this example, I'm going to illustrate how to prepare a Pareto diagram. Here is the data available. So Accounts Receivable Department has documented the following defects over a 30-day period. So in the documents prepared by the Accounts Receivable Department, these are the errors, these are the frequencies of errors. Now, to prepare Pareto diagram, the first thing we need to do is to sort this list by frequency from largest frequency to the smallest frequency. So if you look at the frequencies, the first one, the largest one is A, that is 108. Then the next largest is D, and that is 30. And then it is B with 24. And then C with 18, and then F with 12, and finally E with 8. And this sums to 200. Okay. So this is in descending order. And this is important step. And then relative frequency. Okay, so this is what we're going to use for the bar chart part, and we need relative frequency and cumulative relative frequency for the line that we have to draw. So relative frequency is given by, you take the frequency, each frequency, and divide by the sum of frequencies. Okay, so relative frequencies are 108 divided by 200, and that's equal to 0.54. Then 30 divided by 200 is 0.15. 24 over 200 is 0.12. 18 over 200 is 0.09. And 12 over 200 is 0.06. And 8 over 200 is 0.04. Of course, this should sum to 1. Now, when we prepare the Pareto chart, what we need to plot is not the relative frequency, but cumulative relative frequency, which is a running sum. So let's do that. 0.54. When you add 0.15 to 0.54, you get 0.69. Then add 0.12 to it, so 0.81. And then 0.90, 0.96, and then, okay, of course, the last number for cumulative frequency must be equal to 1. And let's convert these to percentages, because that's what we're going to plot, okay, the cumulative frequency as a percentage. Okay, so we'll plot that in the next page. So I have a little grid here, so we'll use this grid for the Pareto diagram. So we're going to use the left hand side y-axis for frequency, and we will plot these frequencies as bars. So first one is A, 108. Okay, let's do 108 first. Okay, so 108, I'm going to try to do this as accurately as I can. So 108 is probably about there. You need to use a ruler to be able to draw this fairly well. So that's 108. Then B is 30. So 30 is about there. D is 30. The next one is B, is 24. 24 is probably about there. And then C is 18, so 18 about there. And then 12 for F. And finally E with 8. So that's the first part. Now we have to plot the cumulative relative frequency using the y-axis on the right side. Okay. So now here are the cumulative frequencies. So for the first one, for A, it is 54%. So we need to use this right-hand side y-axis, not from the left. Okay, that could be sometimes confusing. So 54 is approximately over there. The next one is 69 for D. So 69 for D would be about there. And then next is 81. 81 would be about there. And then 90. 90 is probably about like there. And then 96 and 100. Now we have to connect these. Like that. You need to really use a ruler to be able to do this properly, otherwise it will all be messy. Now let's try to use this Pareto diagram. How are we going to make use of the diagram? So here are some questions that we can try to answer using the Pareto diagram. The first question is, what is the most frequent problem and how frequently is it occurring? So most frequently, of course, is the first one, A, and A is invoice amount does not agree with the check amount. So this is the problem that is most frequent. So this is the highest priority problem that should be analyzed and a solution must be found for it. So the frequency is 108 and that is 54%. That is 54% of all the problems. Now let's look at another question that we can answer with the Pareto diagram. So suppose that 90% of the defects must be eliminated in the next 3 months. Which of the defects must be addressed? So you go to 90% of the defects, and that covers up to, if you look at the cumulative frequency, you see up to C. So we can use that here to answer that question. For 90% of the defects to be eliminated. The defects that must be addressed are A, D, B and C in that order.